Jake Morrison stood at the big table in the center of the room. Around him sat creatures from many different worlds. Some had 6 eyes. Others had tentacles instead of arms. A few looked like giant insects. They all stared at the human with looks. That said they thought he was stupid. The room was huge. The ceiling went up so high that Jake could barely see the top. Light came from crystals that floated in the air. The walls showed pictures of great battles from long ago. This was the Galactic Council Chamber, where the most important decisions in the galaxy were made. Jake pressed a button on his small device. A picture appeared in the air above the table. It showed human spaceships. They were sleek and silver, about 200 meters long. They looked fast and dangerous. But next to the alien ships, they looked like toys. "These are our warships," Jake said. His voice was calm and steady. "We call them destroyers. Each one carries a crew of 50 humans. They are armed with our best weapons and protected by our strongest shields." The alien delegates looked at each other. Some made strange clicking sounds. Others whistled through holes in their heads. A few started to laugh. High Chancellor Vexter was the leader of the council. He was a tall, thin creature with blue skin and 6 yellow eyes. Tubes helped him breathe the air in the chamber. He looked at Jake's ships and then started to laugh. It was a wheezing, gasping sound that made Jake's skin crawl. "Ambassador Morrison," the Chancellor said, still laughing. "These are your warships? Your destroyers?" He pointed at the picture with one of his 4 arms. "Our scout ships are bigger than these tiny vessels." More laughter filled the room. The Corthany delegate was a being made of living crystal. "When?" She laughed. It sounded like wind chimes in a storm. Her name was Shalveth, and she had fought in more battles than most humans had been alive. "Perhaps," Shalveth said, her voice ringing like bells, "these small ships could serve as escape pods for our real warships, though I doubt they are strong enough even for that simple job." Jake felt his jaw tighten. He had expected this reaction. Humans had only been part of the galactic community for 20 years. Most aliens still thought of them as a young, weak species that should stay quiet and let the grown-ups handle important things. Behind Jake sat Captain Lisa Harper. She was a woman in her 40s, with short brown hair and sharp green eyes. She wore the blue uniform of the Earth Defense Force. Her hands were folded on the table, but Jake could see her knuckles were white. She was angry, but she was trying. Not to show it. Next to Lisa sat Admiral Ryan Clark. He was older, with gray hair and scars on his face from old battles. He had fought in the wars on Mars 30 years ago. His dark eyes watched every alien in the room. He was making notes on a small pad, writing down everything they said. "I understand your concerns," Jake said. He kept his voice polite. "But human ships are designed differently than yours. We focus on speed and efficiency rather than size." The Trilaxian ambassador waved his tentacles in the air. His species looked like giant squids that walked on land. His name was Gorthmal, and he commanded a fleet of ships that were each over a mile long. "Young species," Gorthmal said, his voice bubbling like water. "You do not understand how galactic war works. Our enemies have ships that could swallow your entire fleet. In space, big means strong. Big means you survive." Jake tried again. "Our ships may be small, but they carry weapons that—" "Weapons?" Chancellor Vexter interrupted. "What weapons could fit on such tiny ships? Our main guns are larger than your entire vessel. One shot from our plasma cannons would turn your destroyer into space dust." The room filled with more laughter. Jake could hear aliens whispering to each other in their strange languages. He caught a few words that he understood. Toys, children, pathetic. Admiral Clark leaned forward slightly. His scarred hands gripped his data pad tighter. He had seen this before. In the Mars Wars, the rebels had laughed at Earth's small, fast ships. They had called them toys too, right up until those toys had destroyed half their fleet. Perhaps, the Chancellor continued, humanity should focus on support roles. You could carry supplies to our real warships. You could help with medical duties. You could scout empty areas of space where there is no danger. Leave the fighting to species who know how to do it. Captain Harper's green eyes flashed with anger. She started to stand up, but Admiral Clark put a hand on her arm. He shook his head slightly. Not yet, his look said. Let them laugh. Let them think we are weak. The meeting went on for another hour. The aliens assigned human ships to support duties in the outer parts of the galaxy. They would guard empty space far from any real fighting. They would carry supplies and help with medical emergencies. They would not be allowed to take part in any real battles. As the meeting ended, the alien delegates continued to laugh and make jokes. Jake heard one of them say, "Did you see those tiny ships? My personal yacht is bigger than their flagship." Another said, "I wonder if they come with little toy soldiers to crew them." Jake, Lisa, and Ryan walked out of the chamber together. The laughter followed them into the hallway. Even when the doors closed behind them, they could still hear the aliens making fun of humanity's fleet. "Well," Jake said, loosening his tie, "that went about as well as we expected." Lisa looked back at the closed doors. "They have no idea what they just did, do they?" Ryan smiled. It was not a nice smile. "No, but they will learn. Our intelligence reports say the hegemony is building a massive fleet. They plan to attack in 6 months. When they do, size will not matter. Speed will matter. Smart tactics will matter. The ability to adapt will matter." Jake nodded. "How much time do we have to get ready?" 6 months to position our ships and prepare some surprises," Ryan said. "The USS Defiant, USS Vengeance, and USS Retribution are already being loaded with our new weapons. The crews are excited to show what human engineering can really do." Lisa walked to a window that looked out at the space dock. Huge alien warships floated there like metal mountains. They were covered with gun turrets and armor plating. Next to them, the human ships looked like minnows swimming next to whales. "They think we are a joke," she said. "Good," Ryan replied. "Let them think that. Let them laugh. When the real fighting starts, we will see who is laughing then." Outside the window, the alien fleets continued their preparations. They were confident in their massive ships and powerful weapons. They had no idea that the small human vessels carried technology that would change everything. They did not know that humanity's toy ships had weapons that could fire faster than anything in the galaxy. The joke was about to become their worst nightmare. 3 months later, the human fleet arrived at Station Omega-7. The station was old and barely working. It floated in empty space at the edge of the galaxy, far from any important worlds. This was where the Galactic Council had sent the humans to do their support duties. The station commander was a creature called a Vorthik. His name was Gruel, and he was not happy to see the human ships. Vorthiks looked like giant bears with 4 arms and thick, gray fur. They were strong and tough, but not very smart. Gruel had been sent to this empty station because he had made too many mistakes in real battles. Commander Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant. She was a woman in her 30s with red hair and bright green eyes. She had been born on Mars and had grown up hearing stories about the great battles her grandfather had fought. Now she was in command of one of humanity's most advanced warships. "Station Omega-7. This is the USS Defiant," Kate said into her communicator. "We are here to report for duty. Please send us our orders." On the main screen, Gruel's ugly face appeared. His small, dark eyes looked at Kate with disgust. Behind him, The station's command center looked dirty and run down. Sparks flew from broken equipment. The air looked thick and smoky. "So you are our reinforcements?" Gruel said. His voice was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. "Command sends me toys while real enemies build real warships." Kate kept her face calm, but inside she was getting angry. "Station Commander, we are ready to begin patrols. Please send us the locations where you want us to search." Gruel laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Patrols? Little human, you do not understand. Your paper ships will stay here at the station. You will help with supplies and repairs. Real patrols need real ships." "Sir," Kate said, "our orders from the council say we should—" "The council is not here." Gruel interrupted. "I am here. I am in charge. Your weak ships will serve as cargo carriers and rescue boats. Nothing more." The transmission ended. Kate stared at the blank screen for a moment. Around her, the bridge crew was quiet. They had all heard the station commander's words. Lieutenant Commander Nick Torres was Kate's second in command. He was a young man with black hair and dark eyes. He had grown up on Earth and had studied alien technology at the academy. He walked over to Kate's chair. "Captain," he said quietly, "long-range sensors are detecting something strange. 3 sectors. Away, there is a debris field. The pieces do not match any known ship designs." Kate turned to look at the sensor readings. On the screen, she could see the scattered remains of what had once been a convoy of ships. The metal was twisted and melted. Whatever had attacked them had used weapons more powerful than anything in the galactic database. "Hegemony?" Kate asked. "Maybe," Nick said. "The energy readings are unlike anything we have seen before. Whatever destroyed that convoy used weapons we have never encountered." Chief Engineer Amy Peterson looked up from her station. She was a small woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. She was also one of the smartest people Kate had ever met. Amy could fix anything and build weapons that most people thought were impossible. "Captain," Amy said, "I have been studying the alien weapon systems. The aliens keep talking about how big their ships are, but I think I know why they need to be so big." "Tell me," Kate said. "Their plasma cannons need huge power cores and cooling systems. That is why their ships are so large. They have to wait between shots while their weapons cool down and recharge." Kate nodded. She was starting to understand. "And our weapons? Our railguns do not need cooling time. Our fusion torpedoes do not need massive charging systems. We can fire again and again while they are still getting ready for their second shot." Kate smiled. It was a dangerous smile. "Nick, take us out on a supply run to investigate that debris field. Amy, I want you to study those energy readings. And someone wake up Dr. Corinne White. If this is hegemony technology, we need to understand it." Dr. Corinne White was the fleet's science officer. She was an older woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had spent her whole life studying alien technology and weapons. If anyone could figure out what had destroyed that convoy, it was her. The USS Defiant left the station quietly. In the official records, they were listed as conducting routine maintenance patrols. Station Commander Gruel did not bother to check where they were going. He was too busy drinking alien beer and complaining about his assignment. What Gruel did not know was that the human fleet had been secretly studying the enemy for weeks. While the aliens thought the humans were just sitting around doing nothing, human ships had been mapping enemy movements and analyzing their technology. 2 days later, the Defiant returned to the station. What they had found at the debris field changed everything. The hegemony was not just building bigger ships. They were building faster ones. Their new vessels were huge and heavily armed, but they could also move through space faster than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Even worse, There were a lot of them. The hegemony had been building ships in secret for months. They had enough vessels to destroy the entire galactic defense fleet. Kate sat in her command chair, staring at the data on her screen. The numbers were frightening. The hegemony had over 3,000 ships. The galactic defense fleet had less than 500, and most of those were old and slow. "Get me a secure channel to Admiral Clark," Kate ordered. "Use the highest security code we have." When Admiral Clark's face appeared on the screen, Kate could see that he looked worried. Lines of stress marked his face. His gray hair looked even grayer than before. "Kate," he said, "please tell me you have good news." "Sir, we have intelligence on the hegemony's new ship classes. They are not just bigger than we thought. They are faster too. And Admiral ... Kate paused. "They are not coming in 6 months like we expected. They are coming in 6 days." The bridge became very quiet. Kate could hear the hum of the ship's engines and the beeping of the computers. In the distance, she could hear the sounds of Station Omega-7 going about its daily business. The aliens there had no idea that their sector was about to become a battlefield. 6 days, Admiral Clark repeated. His voice was very quiet. "Yes, sir. Our sensors detected a massive fleet movement 3 hours ago. The hegemony is already on its way." Admiral Clark was quiet for a long moment. Then he straightened up in his chair. His eyes became hard and determined. "Then it is time," he said. "Signal the fleet. Tell all ships to prepare for Operation Underdog. We are going to show the galaxy what humans can do when they stop underestimating us." Kate felt a chill run down her spine. Operation Underdog was the plan they had hoped they would never need to use. It was dangerous and desperate, but it was also their only chance. "Yes, sir," she said. "All ships will be ready." The transmission ended. Kate turned to face her crew. They were all looking at her with worried but determined faces. These were good people, she thought. They deserved to know the truth. "Listen up," she said. "In 6 days, we are going to be fighting for our lives. The enemy has more ships than we do. Their ships are bigger than ours. But we have something they do not have." "What is that, Captain?" Neat asked. Kate smiled. "We have the element of surprise. They think we are toys. They think we are weak. They have no idea what human engineering can really do. We are going to show them that sometimes the smallest dog has the biggest bite." The crew smiled back at her. They were scared, but they were ready. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. Now they would find out if humanity deserved its place among the stars. Outside the ship, space looked peaceful and quiet. But Kate knew that in 6 days, this empty sector would become the most important battlefield in galactic history. The fate of billions of lives would depend on 7 small ships and their human crews. The joke was about to become a legend. The hegemony fleet appeared in space like a dark cloud covering the stars. Their ships were massive and black, with red lights that glowed like angry eyes. The largest ship was over 5 kilometers long and bristled with weapon turrets. It was a floating fortress of death. Admiral Vexmore stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Annihilator. He was a tall, thin creature with gray skin and sharp teeth. His species, the hegemony, had conquered dozens of worlds. They believed that might made right, and they had the biggest, most powerful fleet in the galaxy to prove it. "Report," Vexmore commanded. His voice was cold and harsh. "Sir, we count 3 defense stations and about 40 enemy ships," said his tactical officer. "Most are old Galactic Defense Force vessels. Nothing that can threaten us." Vexmore smiled. It was not a pleasant sight. "What about the human ships our spies reported?" 7 small vessels, sir. They are positioned near the main defense station. Our computers cannot identify their ship class, but they are very small, no more than 200 meters each. The admiral laughed. 7 toys against our entire fleet? The council must be truly desperate. Signal all ships. We will begin the attack in 30 minutes. Let the galaxy see what happens to those who oppose the hegemony. 3 sectors away, Commander Kate Sullivan watched the enemy fleet approach on her main screen. The USS Defiance bridge was quiet except for the soft beeping of computers and the hum of the engines. Her crew worked at their stations with calm efficiency. Tactical report, Kate ordered. Lieutenant Commander Nick Torres bent over his console. 127 enemy ships, Captain. They range from frigate size to that monster in the center. The big one is 5.3 kilometers long. It has more guns than some space stations. Engineering, how are our special weapons? Chief. Engineer Amy Peterson's voice came through the communication system. She sounded excited. All 7 ships are loaded and ready, Captain. The new fusion torpedoes are armed. The experimental railguns are charged to full power. We are ready to show them what human engineering can do. Kate turned to her communications officer. Jenny, patch me through to the fleet. All ships. The faces of 6 other human commanders appeared on the main screen. There was Captain Paul Anderson of the USS Vengeance, a tough man with a beard and scarred hands. Commander Sarah Mitchell of the USS Retribution was a woman with short black hair and fierce eyes. Captain Alex Warren of the USS Hellhound looked young but determined. Commander Beth Collins of the USS Raptor was calm and focused. Captain Dan Foster of the USS Falcon had been Kate's friend since the academy. Commander Greg Taylor of the USS Talon was the youngest captain in the fleet. Ladies and gentlemen, Kate began, in 30 minutes we will be facing odds of about 18 to 1. The enemy thinks we will run away or die quickly. They have dismissed us as toys and jokes. Today, we prove them wrong. Captain Anderson nodded. The Vengeance is ready. My crew has been waiting for this moment their whole lives. Remember, Kate continued, speed is our advantage. We are smaller, faster, and more maneuverable than anything they have. Our weapons fire continuously. Their weapons need time to recharge. Our shields can redirect energy instead of just absorbing it. And most importantly, they have no idea what we are really capable of. The countdown timer on the bridge showed 15 minutes until the hegemony attack would begin. Around the human fleet, the larger alien ships of the Galactic Defense Force were slowly moving into defensive positions. Their movements were clumsy and predictable. Captain, Nick called out, Station Commander Gruel is trying to contact us. He is ordering us to retreat to the back of the formation. Kate's smile was sharp and dangerous. Tell Commander Gruel that the human fleet politely declines his suggestion. We will be taking the front position. As the human destroyers moved forward, they passed the much larger alien defense ships. Kate could hear the radio chatter from the alien vessels. The aliens thought the humans were committing suicide by moving to the front of the battle. 5 minutes to enemy weapons range, Nick announced. Kate opened a channel to all human ships. This is Commander Sullivan to all vessels. Remember your training. Trust your equipment. Show them what happens when they underestimate humanity. The hegemony. Fleet moved closer, their massive ships confident in their overwhelming advantage. They had no idea that the 7 small ships moving to meet them carried weapons that would change space warfare forever. Admiral Vexmore watched the approaching human ships with amusement. Look at them, he said to his bridge crew. They actually think they can fight us. This will be over in minutes. Sir, his tactical officer said, should we target the human ships first? No, Vexmore replied. Let them watch as we destroy their space stations. Then we will swat them like insects. It will be more humiliating that way. The first hegemony plasma barrage lit up space like an artificial sun. Massive beams of energy struck the galactic defense stations. The alien defenders' shields flared bright blue and then died. Their return fire was slow and clumsy. "All human ships," Kate commanded, "initiate attack pattern Alpha. Amy, give me everything the reactor can produce. Fusion core at 100. And 10%, Amy reported. All weapon systems are green. The enemy has no idea what is coming." The 7 human destroyers suddenly accelerated. Their advanced engines pushed them forward at speeds that seemed impossible for ships their size. They moved so fast that the hegemony fleet barely had time to register them as threats. "Firing!" Kate shouted. The USS Defiance railguns unleashed. A devastating attack. Magnetically accelerated projectiles traveled at incredible speeds, faster than anything the enemy had ever seen. The leading hegemony frigate's shields collapsed instantly. Its armor vaporized under the impact dot at the same time. The USS Vengeance launched a spread of fusion torpedoes. The weapons detonated against a hegemony cruiser in brilliant flashes of light. The alien ship buckled and split apart. Its crew never understood how such small weapons could be so powerful. "Impossible," Admiral Lexmore snarled. "How can such tiny ships generate that much firepower?" "Sir," his tactical officer reported in panic, "their weapons are firing continuously. No charging time, no cooling periods. This is not possible according to our understanding of physics." The human fleet moved through the hegemony formation like sharks through a school of fish. Their smaller size and superior speed allowed them to dance between the massive enemy ships. They struck with precision and moved away before the enemy could respond. Commander, Sarah Mitchell targeted a hegemony dreadnought's engines with surgical precision. "This is for every world you have destroyed," she said, launching her torpedoes. Into the enemy ship's reactor core, the explosion was visible from across the star system. "Pattern Beta," Kate ordered. "Split formation. Show them what 7 ships can do when they fight as individuals instead of as a fleet." The human destroyers separated, each captain choosing their own targets. The hegemony fleet, designed for massive formation battles, was completely unprepared for this chaotic fighting style. Captain Alex Warren dove his ship under a hegemony battleship. His rail guns carved through its armor like it was paper. "This is what happens when you call us toys," he broadcast on all frequencies. The tide of battle was turning. The hegemony fleet, which had approached with total confidence, was losing ships at an alarming rate. Their massive vessels, designed to win through sheer firepower, were being outmaneuvered and outgunned by ships 1/10 their size. All vessels. Concentrate fire on the human ships. Admiral Lexmore commanded. Ignore the other defenders. Those small ships are the real threat, but it was too late. The human fleet had already proven that in space combat, size meant nothing. Speed, smart tactics, and better technology were what mattered. As the hegemony fleet began to break apart under the human assault, the larger galactic defense ships found new courage. "Captain," Nick called out, "the enemy flagship is trying to retreat. Should we follow?" Kate's smile was cold as space itself. "No, let them run. Let them tell everyone what they saw here today. Let the galaxy know that humanity does not build toys. We build nightmares." The Battle of Kepler Sector ended with a human fleet victorious. 7 small ships had defeated a fleet of over 120 vessels. The joke had become a legend, and the legend was about to become a war cry that would echo across the galaxy. The news of the battle spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Within hours, every species in the Galactic Council had heard about the impossible victory. 7 human ships had defeated an entire hegemony fleet. The species that had been laughed at and dismissed as weak had just changed the course of galactic history. Commander Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant, watching the rescue operations. The space around them was filled with debris from destroyed hegemony ships. Some alien vessels were still burning, their hulls split open like broken eggs. The human fleet moved carefully through the wreckage, looking for survivors. Captain, Lieutenant Commander Nick Torres reported, "We have rescued 43 hegemony survivors. They are being held at our cargo bay under guard." Kate nodded. Even in war, humans tried to save lives when they could. What is their condition? Mostly minor injuries. Dr. Corinne White is treating them. But Captain, they keep asking the same question over and over. Which is, how did we do it? They cannot understand how our small ships defeated their massive fleet. Kate smiled. Let them wonder. Sometimes the best weapon is mystery. On the other side of the bridge, Chief Engineer Amy Peterson was studying the wreckage of a hegemony cruiser. Her computer showed detailed scans of the alien technology. What she saw made her shake her head in amazement. "Captain," Amy called out, "you need to see this. The enemy ships are even more poorly designed than we thought." Kate walked over to Amy's station. On the screen was a cross-section view of the destroyed cruiser. The ship was mostly empty space, with huge corridors and massive rooms that seemed to serve no purpose. "Look at this," Amy said, pointing to the display. 70% of their ship is wasted space. They built them big just to look impressive. Their weapons take up less than 10% of the total volume. "What about their armor?" Kate asked. "Thick, but stupid. They made it heavy instead of smart. Our kinetic rounds went right through it because they never expected to face weapons that fast." Kate studied the display. "And their power systems? Massive but inefficient. They need those huge reactors just to power their basic systems. We pack more energy into a space 1/10 the size." The communication system beeped. "Captain Sullivan, this is Admiral Clark. Please report to the secure channel." Kate returned to her command chair and activated the encrypted communication link. Admiral Clark's face appeared on the screen. Behind him, she could see the busy command center of the human fleet headquarters. "Kate," the Admiral said, "congratulations on your victory. The entire galaxy is talking about what you did here." "Thank you, sir. But this is just the beginning. The hegemony will not give up after one defeat. You are right. Our intelligence reports that they are already gathering reinforcements. But something else has happened, something that changes everything." Kate leaned forward. "What is it, sir?" "The Trilaxian Empire has just declared war on the hegemony. So have the Zephyrian Confederacy and the Corthony Republic. Your victory has given them the courage to fight back." Kate felt a chill of excitement. How many ships are we talking about? Over 2,000 vessels from all three empires combined. And they are all asking for human advisors to help them redesign their fleets. The implications were staggering. The three empires had been neutral in the conflict, afraid to face the hegemony's massive fleet. But the human victory had shown. Them that size did not guarantee success. "There is more," Admiral Clark continued. "The Galactic Council has asked humanity to take command of the combined defense fleet. They want you to lead the counterattack against the hegemony." Kate stared at the screen. 6 months ago, humans had been dismissed as a joke. Now they were being asked to lead the galaxy's greatest military operation. "Sir," she said, "I am honored. But I am not sure I am ready for that level of responsibility." "You are ready," Clark replied. "You have proven that human tactics work. More importantly, you have proven that we can adapt to any situation. The aliens respect that now." Over the next 3 months, Kate found herself at the center of the greatest military buildup in galactic history. A human fleet grew from 7 ships to over 200. More importantly, alien shipyards began producing vessels based on human designs. The new ships were smaller than the old alien dreadnoughts, but they were faster and more heavily armed. They used human-designed weapons and shield systems. Most importantly, they were crewed by mixed-species teams that had trained together using human tactical methods. Kate stood on the bridge of her new flagship, the USS Liberty. It was larger than the Defiant, but still much smaller than the old alien capital ships. Around her, a mixed crew of humans and aliens worked together with an efficiency that would have been impossible a year ago. "Captain," reported Lieutenant Torres, who had been promoted to her tactical officer, "the combined fleet reports ready for operation. We have 437 ships from 12 different species." Kate looked at the tactical display. The new fleet was spread across 3 star systems, positioned to strike at the heart of hegemony space. Intelligence reports showed that the enemy was preparing for a massive counterattack, but they were still building ships using their old, flawed designs. "Communications, get me Admiral Clark," Kate ordered. When the Admiral's face appeared on screen, Kate could see the pride in his eyes. "Kate, the fleet looks magnificent. Are you ready to show the galaxy what unified forces can accomplish?" "Yes, sir." The mixed crews have been training together for months. The alien officers have adapted to human tactical methods better than we hoped. And our new weapon systems are even more effective than the ones we used at Kepler. "What about morale?" Clark asked. Kate smiled. "Hi, sir. The alien crews are excited to be part of something new. They have seen what our methods can do. They want to prove that they can fight just as effectively." The communication system chimed with an incoming priority message. Kate accepted the transmission, and the face of Chancellor Vexter appeared on the screen. The alien leader looked very different from the arrogant creature who had dismissed humanity months ago. "Commander Sullivan," the Chancellor said, "the Council has approved your battle plan. You have full authority to proceed with the operation." Kate nodded. "Thank you, Chancellor. We will not disappoint you." "Commander," Vexter continued, "I must say something. 6 months ago, we made a terrible mistake. We judged your species by the size of your ships instead of the strength of your minds. We were fools. The past is behind us, Chancellor. What matters now is working together to defeat our common enemy." After the transmission ended, Kate stood quietly on her bridge. Around her, the mixed crew continued their preparations. Humans worked alongside Trilaxians, Zephyrians, and Corphini. A year ago, such cooperation would have been impossible. Now it seemed natural. "Captain," Nick said, "long-range sensors are detecting movement in the hegemony core systems. It looks like they are preparing for their own offensive." Kate studied the sensor readings. The enemy fleet was massive, over 500 ships, but she was no longer intimidated by numbers. She had learned that in space combat, intelligence mattered more than size. "Signal the fleet," she ordered. "All ships are to prepare for hyperspace jump. We are going to end this war before the hegemony can launch their attack." The combined fleet began to move, 400 ships preparing to strike at the heart of enemy territory. The joke had become a legend. The legend was about to become a victory that would reshape the galaxy forever. 1 year after the Battle of Kepler Sector, the Galactic Council Chamber looked completely different. The same high ceiling and floating crystals were there, but the atmosphere had changed completely. Instead of dismissive laughter, there was respectful attention. Instead of mockery, there was genuine interest in what the human delegation had to say. Ambassador Jake Morrison stood at the same podium where he had been ridiculed 12 months ago. But now, delegates from dozens of species hung on his every word. The holographic displays showed the new fleet compositions, with human-designed ships serving alongside traditional alien vessels. "The Integrated Defense Initiative," Jake explained, "has proven that cooperation between species creates strength. Our combined fleets are more effective than the sum of their parts." High Chancellor Vexter leaned forward in his seat. His 6 eyes were focused intently on the human ambassador. Ambassador Morrison, your species has revolutionized our understanding of space warfare. The Council formally requests that humanity take the leading role in restructuring all our defense forces. Admiral Ryan Clark stood up from his seat. He now wore the insignia of Supreme Allied Commander, a rank that had been created specifically for him. The human fleet has grown to over 300 vessels, he announced. But more importantly, we have begun sharing our technology and tactics with all allied species. Fleet Admiral Lisa Harper, who had been promoted after the successful counterattack against the hegemony homeworld, activated another holographic display. The new integrated fleet design combines human speed and firepower with the structural advantages of larger alien vessels. The result is a force that can adapt to any threat. In the months following the victory at Kepler, word of humanity's success had spread to every corner of the galaxy. The hegemony, once the most feared military force in known space, had been completely defeated. Their surviving ships had surrendered or fled to distant systems. More importantly, dozens of previously neutral species had joined the Galactic Defense Alliance. The remarkable thing, Jake continued, is that our methods were never secret. We simply applied principles that any species could have discovered. We chose efficiency over size. We chose adaptability over rigid thinking. We chose innovation over tradition. The Corthany delegate, Shal Veth, resonated with harmonic tones that showed deep respect. Humanity has taught us that true strength comes not from the size of our weapons, but from the flexibility of our minds. We formally request human advisors for our shipbuilding programs. Commander Kate Sullivan, now bearing the rank of Fleet Admiral, watched the proceedings from the gallery. Around her sat the other veterans of the Kepler battle. They had become legends in their own lifetimes. Children across the galaxy knew their names and dreamed of serving on human ships. "Do you remember when they called us toys?" whispered Captain Paul Anderson, who now commanded an entire battle group. "They were not entirely wrong," Kate replied with a smile. "Toys are designed to be underestimated. That is what makes them so dangerous in the right hands." The session continued with representatives from 12 different species requesting human assistance with their military programs. The Trilaxians wanted help redesigning their massive ships to be more efficient. The Zephyrians asked for training in human tactical methods. Even species that had never fought before were asking to join the alliance. 6 months ago, the Chancellor continued, we almost made a terrible mistake. We almost allowed our prejudices to blind us to your true capabilities. We judged you by appearance instead of substance. Jake nodded diplomatically. The past is behind us, Chancellor. What matters now is building a future where all species can prosper in peace. But the most significant change was not in military technology or tactics. It was in the way different species worked together. Human crews now served on alien ships, while alien officers commanded human vessels. The rigid barriers between species were breaking down. Dr. Karen White, now the head of the new Galactic Science Institute, had spent the past year studying how different species could combine their strengths. Her research showed that mixed crews were more creative and adaptable than single-species teams. The key insight she had written in her famous report is that diversity creates resilience. When you combine human innovation with Trilaxian engineering and Corthany precision, you get results that no single species could achieve alone. The session concluded with the formal establishment of the Unified Defense Command, with Admiral Clark at its head. As the delegates filed out, their conversations centered on adapting human principles to their own forces. 12 months ago, they laughed at us, Jake said to Lisa as they walked toward the exit. They are not laughing now, Lisa replied. But more importantly, they are learning. And that is what will keep the galaxy safe. Outside the council chamber, a space harbor showed the new reality of galactic defense. Human destroyers worked alongside redesigned alien vessels. Their crews trained together using the new tactical methods. The massive, slow dreadnoughts of the past were being converted into mobile bases or retired completely in the shipyards. New vessels were being built using hybrid designs. They combined human technology with alien materials and manufacturing techniques. The result was a new generation of ships that were more powerful than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Kate stood at an observation window, watching a group of young officers from 6 different species training together. They moved with the same precision and confidence that had characterized the human crews at Kepler. But now they were not just human. They were something new, something better. "Fleet Admiral," a voice said behind her. She turned to see Commander Nick Torres, now captain of his own ship. "The new recruits are asking about the Battle of Kepler again. They want to know what it was like to be part of the first victory." Kate smiled. "Tell them it was not about the battle. It was about proving that being different is not the same as being weak. It was about showing that sometimes the smallest force can have the biggest impact." As she spoke, a group of young aliens approached. They wore the mixed uniforms of the new unified fleet. Their species had once been enemies, but now they served together as friends and colleagues. "Admiral Sullivan," one of them said, "is it true that your ship was only 200 meters long when you defeated the Hegemony flagship?" "Yes," Kate replied. "But size was never the point. The point was using what we had in the smartest way possible. Will you teach us how to think like humans?" Another asked. Kate shook her head. "No, I will teach you how to think like yourselves, but better. Humans do not have all the answers. But we have learned that asking the right questions is more important than having big guns." The young officers nodded eagerly and hurried away to their training. Kate watched them go with satisfaction. They represented the future of the galaxy, a future where cooperation replaced competition and intelligence replaced brute force. The joke had become a revolution. The species that had been dismissed as insignificant had fundamentally changed the nature of galactic civilization. They had proven that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe is the ability to be underestimated, right up until the moment you prove everyone wrong. In the depths of space, the USS Defiant and her sister ships continued their patrols. They were no longer toys or jokes. They were the guardians of a new age, where victory belonged not to the largest fleet, but to the most adaptable one. The human fleet had taught the galaxy a lesson that would echo through the ages. Never underestimate the species that turns apparent weakness into absolute strength. And never laugh at the toys until you understand what they are really designed to do.